good evening, and warm welcome everyone to our techX session. Uh, I'm Bharat. I'm going to give you a brief about how ChatGPT is being used in Drupal. Uh, there are multiple modules and a number of ideas which are being implemented, and they are out there in the contrib world. We can pick and use it. I am taking this opportunity to explain on one of the module, which is OpenAI ChatGPT and AI integration module. Uh, so, so with respect to this presentation, we have this four sections here. Start with introduction, then very basic about OpenAI and how ChatGPT works. Then we'll get into the module, and then I have few conclusions with respect to what we have on the flexibilities and warnings when we are using this AI technologies in Drupal. Uh, so let's get started. So again, this introduction again is more or less the objective of what we are going to see in this presentation. Uh, One would be the major objective is how Drupal and ChatGPT are working and what are the progresses which we have made till now. And the major thing will be OpenAI and ChatGPT. We'll have a brief overview of it, and we'll understand the basic workflow of ChatGPT in very simple terms. Because when it comes to understanding the functionality, it involves in a lot of technical things which are not needed with respect to our session, and also they are very bit complex to understand as well. And the last part of this would be how we can enable the module, and how the functionalities are set in the module, and that will be a simultaneous explanation and the demo part. So a brief on ChatGPT and OpenAI. So ChatGPT is one of the biggest, or the biggest breakthrough in the generative AI section. Uh, the generative AI is nothing but uh, generating the responses on based on the input which it takes. Okay, so when it comes to ChatGPT, it is majorly only for the text responses. It doesn't give us any images or any media content or something like that. So it takes the text inputs and it gives only the text responses. So it is a trained module, and it works in a conversational way. So if you see the GIF which is playing in the right side of the slide, uh, that's a very small thing which we are seeing here with respect to the functionality. We just keep on asking the questions, then it responds as a human. So conversation between a human and a computer, but you feel like you are speaking to a human over there. So because it's trained in such a way that it responds properly as a human. And we can even with when we see this chat gpt, we can even contradict it answers, and we can ask for better versions of it, and it always gives us the response which is needed, I mean which is trained. And so OpenAI is a research laboratory. Ideally, that works in San Francisco, USA, I guess. Uh, so they are a research laboratory which they are continuously working on AI technologies, where and they're trying how we can bring these things into everyday life, and making everyone's life easier is what they're trying to do. That's a very brief on OpenAI. And with respect to ChatGPT, I think it is released in November 2022. So now this is the major part where we will understand how ChatGPT is working. So when it comes to ChatGPT, the underlying thing of any artificial intelligence program or a output is a language model, large language model program. So when it comes to understanding large language model program, it means it's a simple uh, computer program which will understand the human language, to put it in a very basic term. So when it comes to chat gpt, the language model it is using is generative pre-trained transformer. It is the underlying uh, model program which the chat gpt is built on. So ideally, the idea behind the chat gpt is putting this gpt in conversations. So that falls into chat gpt program. But gpt is something, the basic language model which is basic for that ChatGPT. So what we understand from GPT is, or else all the various AI technologies are the big uh, neural network programs where they take a text input, the user input, they run through set of machine learning or neural network programs, and then they set it into the output neural network, and then we get the output. So the chat GPT or the GPT LLM is trained in such a way that it will it will take all the data sets from internet. Okay, the websites, audio, social media posts, etc. Whatever the data which is available till, I think, as per OpenAI, till 2021, whatever the data sets which were present with respect to websites and everything has been fed into the uh, input neural network, where once this once this data is fed to that network, then they form the data patterns. Okay, either in the form of words or characters or part of words. They form the patterns in the data, and based on the user input, they understand the context what they are trying to ask, and then they pass it to the output neural network. And based on and output neural network is again fed with lot of trainings, and then we get the output. So this is the basic context around chat gpt, but there are a lot of technical terms which we can avoid, but this is the overall idea behind they have done. But the most important note point which we have to understand here is the trained data set which is fed in chat gpt is both done by humans only. The website data, the audio posts and social posts, everything has been fed by human, and the output data is also every time supervised and curated by the humans. What we understand by being supervised is the output. We cannot get a unethical output or something like kind of a hate speeches, or let us say like we want to kill someone or something. That kind of queries will not get answered because this was built very ethical way, and all these data sets have been trained for long number of times, so that these kind of outputs are filtered out before it is reached to the end user. So it's a multi-model. It's a program which is always trained, and every time there is every time there is something new coming up, it gets trained. And when they release the versions also, it's always the program or the network remains the same, just that they train it to a different data set, and output will be curated more. So that is how the chat gpt uh, is working, and this is how the gpt is there. uh, so yeah, so that's the part how it works. Now coming to Drupal chat gpt integrations. So OpenAI, with respect to generative AI services, they have their own APIs which are hosted. So with respect, and Drupal, we have very good capacity of how we can utilize the APIs. So with respect to their services and using Drupal, there are a lot of modules which are already available in the context space. Now we are going to deal with we are going to understand with one of the module, which is AI chat GPT and search integration. I think this is the first module which was released, and but sadly this is only available for Drupal 10, and this is available for Drupal 10 only, and still in alpha phase, uh, which is continuously improving. And there are a lot of issues which I was seeing when I was trying to put in a demo together. Before we get into the actual installation and everything, when it comes to using OpenAI services, we that comes with a cost actually. So ideally, right now, ChatGPT 3.4 and has been released. The whatever the services which are available for ChatGPT 4 are always under the pricing model. We are allowed to use ChatGPT 3.5, GPT 3.5 AI services, even on the free account as well. So ideally, when we register into a ChatGPT website, into OpenAI website, every registered user gets a 5 USD credit for using their OpenAI services, and this is valid for next 3 months from the date of registration. Ideally, they have built a site where they can we can see the hosted services, and we can see how we are using it each and every time. uh, that's one. And the pricing model on the open AI, the pricing is done based on what model we use. Because again, when we say it's a large language model program, they have their different categories, like which, let me show that. So based on the models, if we use a 8K content, uh, these are, again, we exactly don't understand how this model works, but the chat gpt pricing is based on the model and how many tokens we use. So tokens, when it comes to tokens, tokens are numerical representation of the words. So ideally, when someone gives an input, or someone gives a data which is fed, the GPT program saves the words in the form of tokens. I mean, token can be it's a numerical representation, but it's always not a full word. It can be a part of a word. It can be a part of a sentence. It can be a, a single string or a single character. So it is not defined. It's not defined that a token is a word. So it can be a simple string which doesn't have a meaning as well. So with respect to what input we give, it understands the context, and it matches the tokens together, and it gives the output. That is how it works. So every pricing model, right now we are using GPT 3.5 Turbo. So every pricing model based on how much input we have. So per 1K it uses something around $0.015 or something. So this is how it is segregated with respect to the pricing. So that we have to be very careful about. So when we see usage, uh, this is how it tracks down. So initial for my when I registered into this OpenAI account, this is where it says that we have got a $5 credit, and every time when we use it, it ideally tracks it down here. And I don't think it comes every day. Maybe yes. Yeah. See, it tracks down each and every request which I have done with respect to how many tokens which I have used. So how much, I mean, based on that, the calculations are done, and we see the credit getting minused every day. So that's from the pricing part. So most important thing with respect to the pricing part is they are priced with respect to model and the tokens we use. And again, the input tokens are different and the output tokens are different. So it's a pay as you go. Once you decide that you take a subscription, it bills you with respect to how many tokens we use based on the model. And apart from this, what we have to understand is when we put up when we put up API requests, so there are few rate limits with which it comes. So we cannot have more than 3 requests per minute. And again, there is a this token limit per month, token limits per minute as well. So if we are using this ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, we cannot use 3 requests per minute or 40,000 tokens per minute. So this is how they have capped that. When why this has been put up is ideally if we see once the ChatGPT has launched, it took only around 60 days or something to reach for around 100 million users. So there will be a lot of query hits, or a lot of people have been using it for multiple things into their day-to-day life. Even I've seen people use it for few of the biggest coding challenges or something like that. So it generates the sample code as well with respect to functionality which we give. So people have been using it for multiple reasons, and the hits will be a lot. So that's why they have put these caps every time. So that's from the pricing part. And the biggest important thing which we have to understand is the pricing for the API services and ChatGPT are different actually. So ChatGPT 3.5 is right now free. When you want to use it for 4, I think it comes with a price, I guess. It's $20 for, yeah, I think this is See this ChatGPT 4 is plus subscription, which is USD $20 per month. So these two will be separate. The services has a different billing, and the ChatGPT has a different billing. So with respect to ChatGPT 4, we have a lot of lot of updates coming up. One major advantage is they take the user image input system. So they take a media input, and they can, again, the response will be only in the text format, but still they can take the image input systems. So I did not get any hands-on ChatGPT 4 because everything was a paid subscription, so I could not get that. So I only use still ChatGPT 3.5. So this is with respect to the pricing. So this is the module. Uh, so OpenAI ChatGPT. Today, while we are seeing this module, as I said earlier, this is only compatible with 10 version of Drupal, and it's only in alpha version, and there are a lot of changes and updates coming up every time. And this is only one piece of a module which is in the content space, which is under working. There are a lot of modules which has the proper release, which are also working for Drupal 9 as well. So we can check out those after this session. So majorly when it comes to this module, there are 9 submodules. I'm not sure if this image is clear here. So there are 9 submodules which are present. One of the module which takes the settings. The other one, every module has its own functionality actually. One gives the CK editor integration, one gives the content tools on the node pages. The other one uses Devel generate module to automate the content generation process. And there is one small module which says log analysis. Uh, Log analysis is a module where it adds some text representation to the logs, which are logged in our DB log. So what they try to say is, with respect to log analysis, is uh, the Drupal logs which are logged in DB log are not understandable if you're not technical enough, is what they give explanation for that. And they try to put a very simple text message which says XYZ error is coming because of some XYZ reason. So that is with respect to the log analysis. Uh, let me show you the modules. So these are the 9 modules which I was speaking about. There is one more module which says open audio and open embeddings. These two are open AI audio is ideally taking a lot of request time and a lot of tokens to get it converting into this audio is functionality which adds speech to text and text to speech functionality to the brings to the plate. So but this, sadly, this was using a lot of uh, tokens and a lot of thing where we need a premium subscription, and this I could not bring up into this demo. And when it comes to embeddings are the text embeddings where with respect to the content we have, ideally they create some part of a string or a part of a big body section content, and they form vectors together, and they use some different database which says pinecone, and they generate search based output. So the search again based on the artificial intelligence. So this again requires the pinecone subscription, so this is also not present in this demo. So the remaining part, most of the things I tried to cover here. Let's The first and foremost thing which we have to do is we have to create an OpenAI account. OpenAI account is a pretty straightforward process. Uh, we have a Google integration, and we have this Facebook integration and everything. We can just create the account over there, and there will be basic questions like taking your mobile number and asking it to verify and giving your basic details. Once you're set up with this account, let me show you that. When you want to sign up, so this is the basic thing. I already had 2 email accounts and I have created them, so I'm not able to show this. So we can just either use the mail address, or we can use these three things which are present, then based on that we can create an account. So after that we have to bring in the API key and organization ID from the window. I'll just show you where it is. So when you go to this, from the user menu drop down, uh, we have this view API keys here. So if you want to, ideally this will be an empty one. We have to create a new key. It's just identified here. When we click on create key, it gives a pop-up where uh, if you create this, we get a API key. We can copy this and we have to use it. We have to use it in the. We have to put it in the API key section, and the organization ID. I thought ideally that's a thing which we have to see as well. The organization ID is present in here in the manage account section. This is the organization ID which you have to copy and we have to set it. So it's a pretty simple, straightforward process where we have to just give the API key and organization ID, and we'll get started with the API services. This is one module which is a prompt and a ChatGPT Explorer. This is something which is given by the uh, this is something which is given by I think the contributor of the project, just because just because for testing the responses, uh, just because we have to understand how the request response cycle is working, and there are a lot of options which they have put up over there, and just to get the hold of it, I think they have given it. So if you see this, this is the configuration. This is the ChatGPT Explorer. So this is more or less the same ChatGPT window which we see, but it's not a conventional one. It's just that you hit a question here, you get a response there, and again, if you want to fine tune that answer, still it responds in the same way. So again, we have these various options here, which as I was discussing, these are the different models which are present. These are the ChatGPT 4 versions which we are not available with, because these are priced, and these are the different models which are present for 3.5. So other two options here are the temperature. What we understand by the temperature is, so based on the temperature value, it depends on what kind of response we are getting. Either is it realistic, or is it more focused, or is it more random? So that is how they define the temperature. And when it comes to tokens, tokens are, as we understand, so tokens are the part of the string, or part of the words, max tokens which we want to get a response. So that's what we can use. So when it comes to ChatGPT Explorer or Prompt Explorer, what they are trying to put up here is we want to just get a hold of ChatGPT. So if we try something, get me some information. So try to submit this. The request goes and we get the response here. So whatever the question we have, so based on that, it hits the service API and we get the response. So that is what Explorer is given. So this more or less for the testing purposes, and we have to see how we have to get hold of how it is working. So that is on the ChatGPT Explorer. Next, the major thing with respect to this module is the CK editor. So they have a CK editor plugin, which initially is disabled. We have to enable that, and they have some various options in the CK editor functionality which they have given. If you see the rightmost image over here, so these are the 5 functionalities which, I think these are only 5 functionalities. The last one is the help and support, which redirects to the modules page. So these are the 5 functionalities which they try to give us. One, the text completion would be the same question answer format where you give a query and we get a response. Adjusting tone and voice of the content. This means if you don't like the response which we have got, we can ideally make it a professional response, or we can adjust the tone of the output which we get. So we can just pass in friendly or professional or unethical or something. That way it modifies the content, I mean responses, sorry. Summarize is something, if we have a bigger content, it summarizes into smaller ones. Translate, it ideally goes by the meaning, it translates into the respective language. Formatting and correcting the HTML, if there are any issues with the tags or something which we have put in, it ideally formats and reformats and corrects the HTML. It does how it might be whatever the responses which we get with respect to translation or summarize or correcting the HTML might not be okay with everyone. I mean, might not be correct, it might be wrong, but it gives an output how it gets trained. So every time if you don't like an answer, we can send it back, and I think it gets trained over there and gives a response which we, I mean, which it is trained. So ideally we cannot rely on these responses, but still we have this functionality there. So now if we go to the demo of this, format is ready. So this is the, in the toolbar configuration, you see this is the ChatGPT symbol which is there. We can pull this into the active toolbar section, and this is the OpenAI tools which we get. So ideally we have to enable this checkbox to this feature to get started, and these are again the same options which we have over there from the models and the temperature outputs and tokens which we are there. So I'm leaving it to the default. Then once we save this, now if we go and add content, ideally I have added it to basic HTML long web. Let's take it to the full HTML. So now if you see, this is the OpenAI button which we get. Now if you open this, these are the options which we were seeing on the slide as well. So these are the things. So let's try to ask something, get some information about. So when we hit this, they have given an OpenAI status button also here. So it ideally starts printing the output here. So this is how the text completion works. So now when you want to adjust the tone, we have to just select it first. So it changes the content into the whatever the tone we ask and whatever it has been trained. So it might be the same at times, but ideally we are asking a question which is very professional. So I think that's why the tone might be same what we have seen in the previous response versus what we have seen here, but still it adjusts it changes the response every time. So that is how it works for adjusting the tone. And when we come to summarize, I think we have a very less content to check the summarize. Then let's see the translate thing. So we can just give it a French here. Then I think it directly prints in the French language. So I think when it comes to multi-sites, I think if we have the content set, this will be a good feature to use. Then yeah, I think we don't have the correcting the HTML part. I have a set of content which we can try to summarize. So this is something which I was trying yesterday. Okay. So there's something about Virat Kohli. So let's try to summarize this. So this is a very big content. So this summarizes with respect to what it gets trained. So we can use this again in the summary part or something like that. So that's one. And if we submit this, if we try to reformat or the correcting the HTML, it again goes to the service, and waits for the response. Ideally, this takes some time. Let's wait. So, so whatever the way it is trend has given this, if we get into the source of it, see, it has put few, it was unformatted actually, it was only using paragraphs initially. So it put whatever it can. So that's how the reformatting of the HTML works. So this is the part again with respect to CK editor, and the permissions for the permissions again we can manage from the permissions tab. I think we have I think we have the CK editor permissions. So CK editor permissions we can give to whatever the role you want, and not only the CK editor CK editor thing, we have all for the content tools, prompts, ChatGPT Explorer, OpenAI Audio, whatever we want to manage with respect to what role we want to give is given in this module. The next thing is content tools. So with respect to content tools, let's see if I have any. So with respect to content tools, this is more or less the same functionality of the CK editor, but these tools are present on the every entity on the options tab. So if you see, there is a content tone, this is analyzed text. Okay, analyzed text, I think we have not seen here. Analyzed text is something OpenAI has a content policy. As I said, they don't use topics which are very sensitive or unethical, or they don't use those words in their outputs. So this is something which analyzes the text which is present, and gives if there is any word which is violating their policy. So that's how analyzed text works. And adjusting the content tone, again, these are the options which we have, so professional, helpful, college level leader, and everything. And summarizing text, again, it works as similar to the one which is there here. And content title, so suggesting some content title. So based on if we don't have any title over here, I think it will just take the body text, and we ask it to suggest some content title. See, it gives some title over here, so we can use the same, or else if you want to change it, we can change it. So, and the most important thing with respect to content tools is we ideally when it comes to CK editor, it only deals with the field which is either body or description, whatever we use. So when it comes to content tools, we can choose the fields which are present. So ideally I have only title and body, so you can see if I want to analyze text here. So I can put some speeches. Let's see. I hate speech. Let's see if it works. I don't think. Okay. I think it has to be a very precise sentence over here. Ideally, yesterday I've seen it was working. So it's more of a very general statement. So I think that's why it's not throwing up. So ideally, it throws if you use some word like I hate someone or I want to kill someone. So it ideally throws those words over here. So that is one. And content tone and everything, I think more or less works as the same, which we have seen in the article, which we have seen in the CK editor. When we have seen this title, and we can use this for suggesting some taxonomy terms as well. We can take the body field and we can ask for the taxonomy terms. Ideally, it gives some terms. It's not that it's very mandatory that we use it, but it helps us to get started. So that's how the content tools is present here. Uh, this is one devel generate module. As we all know, we have a devel generate module which is used for generating some random content. ChatGPT people, OpenAI module contributors have used leverage this devel generate, and they have pulled up some queries, pulled up some functionalities where you can use ChatGPT functionality to generate the nodes. So if you see this, this again comes, yeah, generating the content from ChatGPT. Again, we have more or less the same options here, ChatGPT Turbo and the temperature of the thing. And uh, this is the query which we have to put. Let us say if you want to put something about uh, again India. Okay. Ideally, what major uh, problem which I have seen with this devil generate module is, if we give more number of nodes, I got succeeded only for maximum of 2 nodes actually, because the request with when it is being sent to uh, OpenAI service, ideally it is getting past 1 minute. So when we give more than 3 or 5 nodes, ideally the request cycle is crossing 1 minute, and I think the functionality is not refined in such a way that every time a new request has to be sent. Or how, I did not get into the code much. So uh, the after 2 nodes it's ideally breaking. So it says the limit is not reached. I'm sorry, the rate limit is reached, and we have to wait for another 20 seconds to uh, get it started again. So ideally it breaks when the batch is in progress. So I tried to use it for maximum of 2 nodes, and I think the major difference between devil generate and GPT devil generate is, we have to give the body which we have to populate here. I mean, fields which we have to populate here. I majorly used only body, because when you see, we cannot use, and ideally what I try to uh, give out understood here is, we should not give a title field here, because uh, when its task is to generate the data about so and so topic, it ideally brings in a very big content where the title field will not accept with respect to the SQL limitations. So we have to use only the description fields, so that the flow is properly solved. If you click this here, I hope it creates the content. Let's go back to the slides in the meanwhile. So also they have given a dress command as well. I've put it here. So gen cgpt is the command where this falls as the number of nodes. We have to give the bundles here and base fields which we have to put, and in the system variable we have to put what content we want to generate. So even this dash command is also not working for more than 3 nodes, as which I have seen. I hope this is done. Okay. I hope this will be done. So there is one node which is already created about India. So puts up this, and this image and everything, the tags which we see, I think these are getting created with devil generate, the original devil generate model. Ideally, only this title and the body field will get updated when we use this. So I think the 2 nodes have been created. So this is another content. You see, we have the title and we have the body. Yeah, that's with respect to the devil generate module. I think drush command, I think let's execute this as well. About uh, yeah, taking some time. In the meanwhile, I'll go forward with the slides. This is about the ChatGPT devil generate, which is there in the one of the module. And the last module which we are seeing with respect to this demo is OpenAI log analyzer, which, as I said, it adds an extra message to the Drupal login system. This is just for explaining the Drupal errors for the beginners or the non-technical users, or something like that. Let me show that. go to the recent log messages, I think ideally we have one setting which we have to do here. Uh, Ideally, these are the four things which are only checked: emergency, alert, critical, and error by default when the module is enabled. I have used everything to just for testing purpose. Again, there are a lot of models here again which we can use, and we can save that. Based on that, the output gets generated. So if we go to the recent log message, let's see. So this adds one of the tab here, explanation powered by OpenAI. So this is some error which is the curl error which we are seeing, and something which it can understand gives an output here. So it says the curl request is not being sent to the server, and the URL might be incorrect, something like that. So it's a very generic text message which can be understood by everyone. So that's how this model is working. I think this is still not done. I think there is some rate issue or something. No, this is created. Yeah, one of the node is created. If you see, this is the content which they got about. We have requested about cricket, and we get some beginner's guide about understanding the basics about cricket. So that brings to what end of the modules. As I said earlier, there is OpenAI audio and there is text embeddings that needs more amount of research, and the search text embeddings will take one session completely if I'm not wrong. So, and also it needs a premium account, so that those two are not present in this demo. So coming to the conclusions part. So as we have seen, the flexibilities which GPT or ChatGPT or OpenAI services which we use in when we use in Drupal is most important. Whatever the modules in the Drupal contrib space uh, are being worked on right now are focused only on content part, like content generation or generating the content ideas, refining the content or transforming the content, converting text to speech or speech to text. So ideally, if you see, it writes the whole articles, it produces summaries, the gives the keywords for taxonomies, and uh, ideally it creates the images as well. There is a DALL-E model which takes the text input and gives an image. Again, that comes with the pricing actually. So that ideally, and even we don't have the integration of this in this integration of DALL-E model in this module. So that's one. And generating content ideas, when it comes, it generates the outlines as well. So let us say if you want a blog post to be present in a Drupal site, we can ask ChatGPT saying, I want to create a blog post. Can you suggest a content name and whatever the fields you need? So it gives XYZ options for us to execute, and at least it is useful for us to get started. So when it comes to refining, it fixes the typos, improves the grammar, it removes the appropriate languages, and corrects the HTML issues. And transforming content, text to speech and speech to text. I think I hope I can get that into demo in the next time if I do it. Yeah, and the other part, the opposite of the flexibilities, is the warnings or the watchouts. So when the ChatGPT got released, there were a lot of questions, and there were a lot of statements which were passed. Like people were worrying about their jobs, how AI gonna replace it. That's one, and that's how that depends on how we use it in our projects or in our day-to-day life. So that's one of the biggest warning which we have. And when it comes we are using in the content generation process, we always want a reviewer before we publish, because this is because the content which is generated on the chat gpt front is a content which is from the computer, or some site, let's say. As we are the When we see the process of it, the data which is trained into the gpt is again from the websites which are present over the internet. So that content can be reliable, not reliable, can be efficient, inefficient. So we cannot blindly save or publish the content which is uh, given out by the response of the GPT. So we must always have a reviewer before we publish the content. And as you see, this is as you understand, chat gpt is something, or the gpt language model is something, always trains the model with the input data which we give. So wherever you're using chat gpt, please do not use your sensitive information. We have to use the data very responsibly. Yeah, that's the one, that's from the warnings part. And the last slide, so references. So these are the references which were help me getting started and help me gather the content for this presentation. And I request everyone to watch this YouTube video where there's a guy from Korea who has explained the chat gpt and the very basic, out of very basics out of it. I mean, he did not use any big technical terms and everything. So that's one. And this is the link where you can see what kind of ideas are being generated right now in Drupal space. If you see, this is the only comment which has, if you scroll it, there are a lot of things which are, you know, under construction or under development. So we can just go there, and if you can see if you can contribute anywhere, we can do that. And the others are the blocks which I've used for understanding the functionality and getting this content together. I think I'm end of my presentation. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm open for questions.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I had an amazing time learning all the new things here at Specbee's techX. And if you did too, do let us know in the comments below. Keep following Specbee for the latest trends in technology. See you in the next one.